power scaling is mostly a thing in anime, but it's something I never really got, even the point of at all. Like, I get the concept of wanting to know if a character is stronger than another character in the show you're watching, but a lot of the times power scaling stuff gets completely out of hand and people take it way too seriously. Like, some people, all they do is power scaling, and it just seems like you would be miserable to try to take every little piece of information from every little source, and then some of it being conflicting information that doesn't make any sense, and then trying to somehow come up with a cohesive list of what character is stronger than another character. And it gets infinitely worse when you're talking about characters from a bunch of different shows and animes. It just starts becoming an incohesive mess. And I feel like power scaling is just mostly a thing in shonens, obviously, because shonens is basically just people who punch each other. There's really no skill involved in a lot of shonen. Usually it just comes down to people punching each other. Because even in Dragon Ball, yes, the original Dragon Ball was about martial arts, but you know in Super it just comes down to who can scream louder and who's got the bigger muscles. Martial arts don't mean anything. So in a lot of ways, power scaling is basically just a punching contest to figure out what dude can punch harder. Which is like, that's fine, but I just feel like it would be a miserable experience trying to figure that out. Just talking about one anime, talking about even just one character. Let's take Dragon Ball Super, for example. Trying to figure out like a power level for someone in Super, it's not really possible for multiple reasons. One, they're just too strong for people to even comprehend how strong they actually are anymore. And number two, the continuity doesn't really make any sense. So you'll have conflicting statements if you want to look at all of the media available and statements available to try to figure out who's stronger than who. You've got conflicting statements because Akira Toriyama doesn't care. He just does whatever is best for his story. He's not trying to make stuff make sense. So anyone else who's trying to figure out what makes sense from Akira Toriyama's work and his power scaling, it just seems like it would be an absolute nightmare. But like, if you want to do that, more power to you, I guess. I just don't really see the appeal, because at the end of the day, especially in shonen, it doesn't really matter how strong someone is. The person who wins is going to be the person who the authors want to win, with whatever power-up, power friendship, whatever sort of thing that they add in. The person who they want to win is going to be the person who's going to win. Like, it doesn't matter if you put Goku up against Deku. If the authors want Deku to win, he will. That's the way it works. It doesn't matter what their powers are. So that's why I never really got it. And people get super, super heated about some of the debates between characters from different anime worlds, like Naruto versus Luffy and Goku versus Saitama. And people get really heated about Goku versus Saitama. And I'm like, if you're even trying to logic that out, it doesn't matter. Everyone's always going to have conflicting opinions. In my personal opinion, just using logic, it would really just depend on whether Saitama is a gag character or not, who truly does beat everyone. Therefore, all of his achievements and stuff and power scaling doesn't matter. If he's a character like Arale, who can just beat anyone, and that's his thing, he's One Punch Man, then it really doesn't matter. Of course he'd beat Goku a one punch or whatever, because that's his gimmick. It's not supposed to make sense. To me, none of it really makes sense, because different anime universes are not the same. They don't function on the same rules. They don't have the same power systems. You can't really have two characters fight, because you could just nullify everyone's powers and say like, oh, this person fights in this world, they don't have any powers because they're not in their original world. It just becomes way too much of a hassle. Like, I'm all for people making fan animations of different anime characters fighting. My problem comes when the people then watch those animations and are just like, oh my, that this person should not have won, or this person should not have almost lost in their battle. This is ridiculous. Like, it's just an animation, and we don't know how the fight would actually go down, because at the end of the day, it depends who the authors would want to win. No, I won't say I don't enjoy some of the power scaling videos just because of how ridiculous they are, or hear someone talk about like Mario and how he could destroy the universe with one punch. I find those videos absolutely hilarious. But people take it too seriously. That obviously doesn't make any sense, how a plumber can destroy the universe. It's not supposed to make sense. And at the end of the day, people are always going to think their favorite character is strongest, so. But some people do truly try to use the fact that, oh, Goku could beat half of the shonen protagonists, therefore Goku is the best shonen protagonist. And I'm like, I just don't get it. It's just completely foreign to me how someone's strength has anything to do with them being a good character at all. I also don't get how people can even compare people from other universes and decide which one's stronger, because whenever someone's talking about like, oh, out of these two characters, you obviously know which one's stronger, and I'm like, no, I don't, because they are entirely different in their own universes. They have powers that do not correlate at all. They are in not similar positions at all. Their strength is not like comparable if you would to equalize the verses. So I don't know who would win, because it just doesn't make sense. My brain does not cross the connections of how one person's power in one universe compares to someone in another universe. It just doesn't make any sense. But if that's your calling, go for it. If that's the way you enjoy your shows, go for it. But for me, I'm gonna stay confused on how someone could even compare the feats between Goku and Saitama. Bye.